Okay, hello. Seems like every time I try to make these videos, I have to do it 15 times before I finally get one that I like. Maybe this is it. Okay, we're going to do output state control. I'm just going to show you how to get into it. We don't have to get into the craziness of how you can use it for diagnosis or anything like that. But I'm going to show you how to get into it and the different things about it. So, I already identified the vehicle. Don't worry about that. You go up to your toolbox. Right, you can see data logger is already highlighted because I'm already in it, but that is where you would get output state control. You need to look at all the PIDs that we have. So data logger, well, it's already up, but you click data logger, you click enter, you click the check mark, whatever. It brings up not this screen, it brings up this screen. Bunch of different modules, right? You can go in here and see all the different modules the vehicle has. You could also go in by system. I believe if you go in by system, it gives you a few more PIDs than if you go in by just the module. I believe is what I remember being told. If you go in an engine, it might pull some PIDs from somewhere else that can affect the engine, like AC and stuff like that. I believe. Or maybe I'm thinking of it backwards and you get more PIDs in modules and powertrain. I don't remember. Different ways of going in. Not a huge deal on how you do it. But there are different ways of going in. For our purposes, and there are PIDs in there that you can control, right? It depends on what you're working on, right? If you want to check a lighting circuit, go to electrical. You're not going to go to powertrain, right? If you want to check ABS, I think there's stuff in there you can do for ABS, or brake lights or stuff like that. I don't know. There's brake lights would be in electrical, not in braking. But anyways, there's different areas. Oops, sorry, I drifted. Different areas where you can control different PIDs. But for our purposes, we are going to go into climate control because it's nice and easy. And I want to show you something a bit goofy about output state control that you have to remember, sort of, when you're working on it. So when you first log in to IDS, it pops up all these PIDs. These are just sort of the standard PIDs that they think people either use a lot or they have discovered are the most common. You can clear them all out. You can also set profiles for yourself so that when you log in, you can load. There's a little button down here where you see save and load. You can save misfire, right? So if you go into powertrain, you click load. Instead of having to go through and pick every single PID, you can load all the PIDs that you use normally, right? And you could update that list as you go along. It's pretty handy. I never used it. I always sat there like an idiot pushing all the buttons, but it is there. You just choose all your PIDs, click save, give it a name, and then every time you log in, you click that top button and you would load your name. And it will, instead of having to erase all the PIDs and click them all, it will just pop them all up for you on the screen. So here we are. We're in climate control, and what I want to do is I want to see if my blower motor is working, okay? Because the customer is complaining they turn their blower motor up and it doesn't go up to, I don't know, 100%, or it doesn't work. Let's just say it doesn't work, okay? So what you can do is you can go into blower speed. Now, output state control, you can only control items that have a hashtag. So you can see blower speed has a hashtag, air mode, position door has a hashtag, seat heater, stuff like that. Everything that has a hashtag is controllable by you. You can tell the computer, I want to do something with that, right? So we'll stick with blower speed here. I want to make sure that the blower can even ramp up. Let's say I don't want to go digging in the dash because the blower motor is hidden somewhere. I don't want to go checking power ground, whatever like that. I had an IDS out, throw it in the car, jump in real fast. It all worked nicely. And I want to see if I can control the blower and tell it to ramp up, because that wipes out a whole section of circuit that I don't have to diagnose, right? If I can ramp up, if I can tell the blower motor to ramp up, sorry if it's a bit shaky, I'm just making sure my kids aren't being lost somewhere, they're okay. If I can tell the blower motor to ramp up and it ramps up, then I know at least I have power and ground to that circuit and it's working fine. And now I can look at the other side, the control side, what is telling the blower motor to ramp up, right? So I go in here, you got to select it. Whoa, that was weird. You have to make sure you select it, so it will outline it with a black sort of box there. You can kind of see it. If you have a whole bunch of PIDs on the screen, it pops up a little bit more. It can be a little iffy. Sorry about the focus. So you select it, and then you want to click the hashtag to say, I want to do something. Now, you'd think clicking the hashtag means, yeah, okay, I'm in control, I can do something. You would be wrong. Your hashtag kind of like tells the system, I want to take control. That's sort of what it's saying. It's not saying you have taken control, but you're prepping the system for you to take over. It's, I don't know, it's like a little switch or something in the computer's brain that lets it know, okay, so they want to do something, right? You have to actually click this little button, and you can hear, I don't know if you can hear, all the actuators are kind of moving and shaking and whatever. You click that little button, and that button means that you are now in control of the system. You're controlling whatever PID you have selected. So in this case, I'm in control of blower's motor speed. So let's ramp it up. And nothing's happening. Now, this is where you need to be careful. So I'm at 100% blower speed. As you can tell, I don't have any blower. You can still hear me, right? This is where you need to be careful about output state control. If you're in the engine side of things, it's a bit different. So because we are in climate control, we have to actually have the system on. I have my climate control system off right now, completely off. So even though I'm telling the body control module, or the HVAC control module, whatever's in control of this, to ramp up, it can't, because the whole system is off. It will not bypass that part of it. Now, if you're doing an engine PID, you aren't going to really run into that problem, because the vast majority of the time, the engine, everything to do with the engine is already running. Same with lighting. You can kind of bypass that with lighting as well. Like I can turn the high beams on without having the lights on. It's a bit different there. So just be careful about some of the system and the output state control and how it works. In this case, the system actually needs to be on, and you'll notice if I push the button, because I'm in control, I can't actually turn the system on. It's another thing to be careful of. So you have to get out of control. Okay, so I'm still telling the system I want control, but I'm out of control. Then I turn everything on. You can hear the computer is now taken over, if you can still hear me. Hopefully you can. Let's turn that down. The system was in auto there for a second. So you can hear it started to ramp up. I've told it to go down to minimum blower speed, which I guess in this case is 30%. Now I can take control. It blanks out the screen. Before there, if I go out of control, you can see that everything comes back, right? I go in control, it all goes away. And now I am in control of the system. No, I'm not, because am I? Hold on, let's see. No, I lost control again because I messed with it too many times. Can't mess with it too many times. Older vehicle, it doesn't like it. Sorry, baby. Hold on. Best car. All right, here we go. Let's do this. All right, system is on. We're running. I am going to take control of the blower motor speed. I want control. Give me 100%. I'm not ramping anything up. Screen's all blacked out. Well, the temperature's blacked out. I'm in control. I tell it 100. I tell it 0. Right? That is output state control. That's how that works. So I am telling the module in there, ramp it up to 100, right? Now, what is 100? How fast is 100? That's a bit different. If you had a system where you turned it on, you press blower, right, blower up, you had nothing, but you turned it on, you went into blower speed control, you told it to ramp up here, and it did, well, then maybe your control head is fried, right? Maybe the buttons are no good. Maybe something is happening. You have to look at your systems and what you're working on, but it proves out, output state control proves out one side of the circuit. If you can get it working. If you tell it to ramp up and it's not, well, you're still kind of at stage one, because is it the head or is it the circuit, right? You have to continue diagnosis there. But it is a pretty handy little tool. I've used it lots of times. The big thing I used it for was for purge valves, because it is a great check to see if they are working or not. Just looking at the FTP sensor. I think I released a video about that already. But that is output state control. That's how you get into it. Again, real quick, just from the toolbox, you go into data logger. Data logger brings up modules. You pick which module you want to do or which system you want to look at. You can go into engine 2. You can go anywhere really. I think you can even tell 4-wheel drive to turn on if you're on the hoist. Pretty sure. Anyways, and when you back out, it cuts. It cuts communication. It removes you from in control, so you don't have to worry about that. You never stay in control. So here's engine. You can see we got a whole bunch of PIDs in here. We got some sort of spark advance. You can control spark advance. You can control. There's the evap canister vent valve. Whole bunch of different things. I think generator demand, right? If you want to increase your alternator, ramp that up, RPM, whole bunch of stuff. Everything with a hashtag is something you can control. If it has an exclamation mark, it means, I believe, you've gone out of the range of testing. Like, you're not allowed. It's kind of like a like a safety thing. You've gone out of the range of testing, and it won't let you control it anymore. Usually you got to turn the car off and turn it back on. I have noticed on this car, when I did the purge valve test, when I cranked the gas tank down to negative 10 kilopascals or 4 kilopascals or something like that, it didn't reset itself. On some of the newer vehicles,